Welcome back to Capitol Review. Demolition continues on the east wing of the White House to bring the latest project from President Trump. Here are before and after images of the White House, and you can see the east wing gone. And that has generated criticism after President Trump originally said that the addition would not touch the actual White House. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt spoke on the issue this week.
The construction of the West Wing in 1902.
Yes,
it looks a lot like what you were seeing today.
Well, joining us now is Dr. Omékongo Dibinga, a political science professor at American University and also a principal at Upstander International. Dr. Dibinga, welcome back to Capitol Review.
Thanks for having me.
A lot coming out of the White House. A big talker is what's taking place outside.
Yes.
This addition of a new ballroom and a demolition. Your thoughts?
Well, first we got to start off with the fact that Trump lied. He told the people that when he started building this ballroom that it wasn't going to touch the White House, which is the part of the building that he loves the most in D.C. So that was a lie. He also lied about the cost, that it was going to cost $200 million. Now, recently, it's over possibly $350 million. Then he talks about where the money was going to come from, was very shady about that. But now we see some of the biggest corporations out there, from Microsoft and Apple to organizations like Palantir are also funding this as well. So these companies are also complicit in the destruction of the White House.
Concerns that you have concerns of these private donations. Does it send them the wrong message?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what's going to happen when you walk into this ballroom? Are there going to be tables, funded by Microsoft, funded by Apple, funded by these other organizations? The White House does not belong to Trump. It's not his house. It's not Mar-a-Lago, right? It belongs to the people. And so these, and then of course there's a huge crypto group that's in there as well. He just powered in another crypto exec as well. So yes, people peddle influence through their donations. And so it's going to be very problematic because he is so transactional that this is not good at all as it relates to that.
You see a problem given that we're in the middle of a shutdown, and even though these are not tax dollars being used, does it send the wrong message, especially to those most affected by the shutdown? Absolutely.
And it's not done yet, so we don't know if taxpayers' dollars will be used at some point. He's also trying to get his own reparations by trying to get $230 million from the Justice Department from a case that was dismissed. That's taxpayer money, which he says he might give to charity. That might go towards this building as well. And so to do this during a shutdown, it's one thing when everybody's being prosperous. When everybody's prosperous or feeling that they're prosperous, people don't care if the president gets his. But when you're struggling, you're standing in food lines, when you're losing your job, when cars are being repossessed, and you see this guy building a ballroom that's going to be bigger than the actual White House, it's unacceptable.
The president says that this new ballroom will enhance the White House experience.
It's destroying the White House experience. It's only going, he says he wants to host foreign leaders there, he wants to host his crypto people there, and he's also engaging in whataboutism, saying, well, Obama did this and this president did that. They sought approval from the various organizations within D.C. that approve buildings like this. This guy has National Guards in D.C. to protect federal buildings, but they're not protecting the White House. And so this whataboutism, it's not acceptable either.
Have you ever been to the White House? And if so, would you be interested in visiting the new ballroom?
I've been to the White House before. I do not have an interest in visiting the ballroom. I don't have an interest in visiting the Rose Garden, which now looks like a Starbucks or Panera patio. I don't need to see any of that. It's disgusting what he's doing. Most people have never been to the White House, but it still stood as a symbol for all of us. And he just demolished it, took a wrecking ball to it, just like he's taking a wrecking ball to our economy.
And quickly, a lot of Democrats and critics say that this just is a bad look right now, given the current situation with the shutdown.
It's a bad look. Destroying the White House, going down to Mar-a-Lago, playing your golf, just doing whatever you feel like you can do. His other, Kristi Noem getting two jets, almost totaling $200 million. I mean, they're looking at the United States Treasury as a slush fund, while people are struggling to pay the bills, and it's about to get worse when we see what's going to happen with insurance shortly.
Dr. Omékongo Dibinga, thank you so very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.